Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna on a cold, wet, rainy afternoon here at MetLife Stadium as the Giants fall to the Jets 13-10 in overtime. My name is Madelyn Burke alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun, the Super Bowl champion Amani. Toomer, guys, this one changed very quickly down the stretch. Up 10-7 with about 28 seconds left. Graham Gano misses a 35-yard field goal. The Jets go down the field, kick a field goal to send it to overtime, and then end up winning it on a field goal. Shaun, what's your immediate reaction in this one?
I think I might throw up. and I hope I won't get any on you. I don't know.
I got multiple coats on.
I'm trying to comprehend what just transpired because it feels like 12 minutes ago, Amani, Giants fans were high-fiving. They were jumping around to the House of Pain. And it looked like the Giants were going to win this game after Kayvon Thibodeau sacked Zach Wilson on fourth down. And it just came unraveled. And I can't believe that here we are again. The Giants defense held this Jets offense in check. And to have played as well as they played this today in this game, and to not have found a way to come away from victory, it's a crime. And it really is. And I think Giants fans right now are stunned. They're shocked. I mean, we need wellness checks. If you have Giants fans out there, check on your friends right now. All right, they are not well. This is not going to sit well. This was an awful way to lose a game. I mean, losing at any point in time is unacceptable. To lose in this fashion, Amani, the poor mismanaged right there at the end of the game, and to miss a 35-yard field goal, I would not want to be in that locker room right now.
Yeah, no, especially the weeks leading up to this, the build-up of the Giants playing a much better brand of football, and then all of a sudden you come out and you do what you have to do to get in the position to win with 24 seconds left, and you can't seal the deal. That is just disheartening. You allow the Jets to get back in. I don't understand how they can catch a ball with like 10 seconds left, run the ball up the field, and then get tackled, and the clock stops so quickly. That's amazing. I wish we would have had the same clock operator in
Give credit
Buffalo.
to the Jets offense because there were 17 seconds, right? We had 14 in Buffalo. We couldn't get that done, and they did it in 70 seconds. And to your point, they had to go down. I mean, it was 25 yards down the field. They had to hurry up and do that. Colossal failure to have lost this football game. There's no excuses for that. Like, they should have won this football game.
There's a lot of highlights.
No doubt about it.
There's a lot of highlights. Kayvon Thibodeau played very well.
Yeah, he balled out.
Had a game-winning sack there at the end.
3 sacks on the day.
Just was a menace, not only in the run game, but with the tackles for losses. I got to give a shout-out to him. He's been taking a lot of heat, but the way he played today showed why he was picked number 5
Kayvon Thibodeau played like a man possessed today, and I want to give credit to Tommy DeVito. I mean, Tyrod Taylor goes down, and everybody's saying, well, who's going to come in at quarterback? Well, here comes Tommy DeVito, who actually started the preseason game here against the Jets right at MetLife. And, you know, look, he ran for a touchdown. Like, Tommy DeVito was going to get a win. I mean, this was going to be a great story for him. And then it just unraveled. And, look, you can't blame the defense. At the end right there, that pass interference on Adoree Jackson, I think 9 times out of 10, Adoree gets his head around. Like we were talking about it right afterwards. Like, on that deep ball, you can't face guard. You can't just throw your hands up and pray. Like, you have to turn around and you have to make the attempt. If you make contact while you're looking for the ball, that's okay. Like, you can't, but you can't make contact not looking for the ball. That's an immediate flag, immediate penalty.
It was obvious.
Those
that was
costly
a glitch
penalties,
right there.
costly penalties down the stretch, especially because the defense was so pivotal in putting the Giants in a position to win. I mean, from the first first drive, you know, Kayvon Thibodeau gets a strip sack. That Jihad Ward recovers, runs it back. They're set up at the 19. Graham Gano makes a field goal to put him on the board early. Gano misses 2 field goals today, uncharacteristic of him. He's missed 6 so far this season. He's working through something right now.
Something's not right with Graham Gano. Like, this guy was automatic last year, and it didn't matter if it was 55, 65, 35. It was guaranteed. He missed one last week. Right. It pushed it wide right. I mean, it was a windy day, but today there was no excuses, but definitely seems like there's something not right with Graham Gano physically.
Absolutely. And then, Dylan, you know, you mentioned Tommy DeVito coming in. Of course, Tyrod Taylor getting the start again as Daniel Jones continues to nurse that neck injury. Taylor goes down with a rib injury. He was sent to the hospital for further evaluation. We're hoping he's doing well and healthy. But Tommy DeVito came in. He ran the offense to the best of his ability. He was able to run in a touchdown, as you mentioned, get the Giants a score in the 3rd quarter there.
And hand it off to Saquon Barkley. Like, let's give credit to Saquon. I mean, he was on a mission. What do you have, 13 yards the last time he played the Jets?
So 1 yard. The last time he played the Jets.
I mean,
he
that's
had
even worse.
128 rushing yards today. The first time this season he's gone over 100 rushing yards on the season. And some of those big plays really galvanized this Giants offense in the second half, Amani.
Absolutely. And you know, it took a lot of pressure off the offensive line that's been much maligned this entire year. But running the football is the advantage that offensive lines usually have over the defense, more quicker, a little lighter defensive linemen. So as the Giants are running downhill, as Saquon Barkley is picking his way through the line, they're getting confidence. And you can see that confidence towards the end of the game. It just wasn't enough. Unfortunately, they weren't able to close out the drives in the red zone, which is something that has plagued this Giants team the entire season.
Saquon had 36 carries today, and when you were coming to the stadium, you knew this was going to be an O-lineman's day, right? This is sloppy, it's raining, we're going to run the football. Of course, the Tyrod Taylor injury forces them more to run. They had a drive where I think it was 9 or 10 plays, not one pass play.
Yes.
And because you also don't want to ask Tommy DeVito to throw the ball too much, but Saquon did his part, and he provided a spark. When he would have a little run, he'd break a tackle, this whole place would start to, you'd hear the crescendo of applause, like, all right, they want to see him break one. Everybody is waiting on pins and needles. The thing that I think is most disappointing, look, the end of the game, right, Kayvon Thibodeau makes the sack. It seems like, all right, all's right in the world. The Giants are going to win. Good guys are going to win. I'm talking trash to my buddy, the Callahan family over here. They're Jets fans. And I'm like, I can't believe this happened. Do you need a hug? And then, boom. All right, they get the field goal. We go into overtime. The Giants could not get out of the funk.
Yeah.
Like, you could feel it.
Yeah.
And you know what? At that point, you got, hey, all right, turn the page. We've got to find a way. Offensively, I mean, they went backwards.
Yes.
2nd and 20, 3rd and 20. There was no offense whatsoever in that overtime possession. That can't happen. They've got to find a way to, hey, look, get together. All right, let's go down. It's on us now to go win this game right here. And the offense could not step up. It could not come through.
Yeah,
I feel like
the momentum is real.
The Giants at the end played not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yeah, momentum is a very real thing indeed. The Giants lost that late in the game as they fell to the Jets 13-10 in overtime. We're going to keep our momentum going, though. We've got more to come on the show. First, guests of our post-game show receive a gift certificate to Ben & Jack's located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben & Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse
Are liquids
should
included
be.
in that gift certificate?
Ooh,
you might need some liquids after
throw
that
it on the bill, yeah.
Can't just be food.
A little apple juice, little brown juice.
Save the stick, give me the bottle.
We've got much more to come here on the show after the break. Head coach Brian Daboll at the podium. That and more on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Moderna. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Today's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants. Citizens is made ready for Giants fans. For the drive of the game, we take you to the third quarter. It was 11 plays, 75 yards, capped off by a 6-yard rushing touchdown by Don Bosco's very own Tommy DeVito, giving the Giants a 10-7 lead in the third quarter. Scoring drive of the game, of course, brought to you by Citizens. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna. Giants fell to the Jets 13-10 in overtime on a rainy and wet afternoon at MetLife. For more, let's send it down to the field where Paul Dottino and Brandon London are standing by.
So the Giants and Jets go to overtime for the third time in their last 6 regular season meetings. Another barn burner, this one in favor of the Jets. The Giants will often look back at the points they left on the scoreboard. 1 for 3 in the red zone and 2 missed field goals, Brandon.
Yeah, we knew going into this game how stout that this Jets defense was going to be, not only when it comes to taking the ball away, which the Giants didn't give any up, but in the red zone as well. When you're a Giants offense and you see a defense playing lights out, you want to be able to capitalize and you want to complement. They weren't able to get the ball into the end zone. In games like this, you need 6, not 3.
They certainly had opportunities to build a larger bulge in this game, and for the last 2.5 quarters, it seemed like they were trying to milk the clock. Ultimately, when push came to shove, the Jets made big plays in the passing game when Wilson had too much time at the end of the fourth quarter when they got the tying field goal, and then, of course, the winning field goal, which involved a couple of pass interference penalties in overtime.
Yeah, usually throughout the game when you got pressure on him and he was kind of throwing on the run, there were bodies around him and you could see him kind of be off target. But on those last throws, he was able to break contain and get wide, a great look down the field to go ahead and do it. Zach Wilson is known for it. And that hurt the Giants' defense in this team at the end.
The secondary can't cover forever. At some point, somebody will break free, and they did for the Jets. Third point to keep in mind in this game, Saquon Barkley, his first 100-yard rushing game since November 13th of last year against Houston. So that's his first 100-yarder in 12 appearances. Remember, he's missed some games because of injury. Only regular season games we're talking about. Didn't have a 100-yard game in last year's playoffs. It was very admirable how the Giants, over the last 2.5 quarters, basically just said, Saquon, The offense is yours. Everybody knew he was getting the ball, and he tried to grind it out as best as he could. And then on defense, I want to mention Kayvon Thibodeau with the 3-sack performance.
Yeah, it's like Saquon knew that it was going to come down to him in that second half. Kayvon played lights out. Also, Micah McFadden, Bobby Okereke, and you got to give your flowers to Cordell Flott and Deonte Banks as well. They played their hearts out.
Ultimately, it came down to a game of defense. And then special teams provided the final difference as the Jets win this one on a field goal in overtime. Let's go back upstairs to you.
Thanks so much, Paul and Brandon. Giants fans, remember, limited tickets are available for remaining Giants home games at MetLife Stadium. Visit giants.com/tickets to find your game and secure your seat. We've got much more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna. After the break, we've got head coach Brian Daboll and more. Hey, Giants fans, subscribe to the Giants Podcast Network for a variety of team podcasts featuring conversations with Giants players, coaches, fans, and legends, plus NFL analysts, business professionals, influencers, and more. Available on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Google. It's the Giants Podcast Network. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna. Madelyn, Burke, Shaun O'Hara, and Amani Toomer recapping the Giants' 13-10 loss to the Jets in overtime. For more, let's send it down to head coach Brian Daboll at the podium.
Yeah, disappointing loss.
Can you explain the decision there on the grand field goal, not going for it, going into that?
Yeah, kick a field goal there, then they have 24 seconds with no timeouts, and they need a touchdown, so counted that. I'm making a field goal, then they'd have 24 seconds with no timeouts, so have to drive at the length, and our defense was playing really good all game, so that's why I made the decision.
The flip side is the same.
Yeah, there's always a flip side. Yep, I understand what it is.
The game it still doesn't end the game, right? You had a chance to. Why not take the opportunity there to end the game by getting the 1 yard?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight. I understand the question, completely legit question, but that's a decision that we made to try to kick a field goal at Graham, and our defense was, they were like 0 for 12 on third down. They were playing really good, and that's a decision we made. It didn't work out.
Is Graham healthy?
Yeah, Graham's all right.
Brian, wouldn't trust in your defense and holding you to go for it?
What's that?
In that type of situation, trust in your defense?
Well, then they need a field goal to tie. I mean, there's so many different things. If they go down and get a field goal, we didn't get it. I felt comfortable with what we talked about. Didn't work out, and disappointed.
Coach, what was the real plan behind Tommy DeVito the last 2 weeks? Because it seems as though you didn't trust him on the field. If that's the case, then, he didn't throw a lot. Why didn't you bring in somebody like Matt Barkley, who was experienced? Because Tyrod's not necessarily, he's very familiar with injury.
Yeah, I'd say this. This game, I kind of figured this is the way the game would be played out. So we were going to run the ball regardless. The weather conditions, the way our defense was playing, we knew it would be, kind of a fourth quarter game. So that's, felt comfortable with him, obviously running the offense. But again, the plan was, we were going to keep it on the ground quite a bit, based on the weather and based on how we thought the game was going to be played out. And it played out pretty much the way we thought it was going to be played out. Just came up short.
How's Tyrod doing? Is he back here?
No, he went to the hospital. Yeah, I don't have any update on him, Jordan. Prayers go out to him. I hope he's okay.
Did you get a chance to speak to him before he left, or when he came to the sideline?
No, I was going to the sideline. He went kind of right down. The trainers took him. They took him right in. So right now he's there. That's what they told me.
Do you know how bad Waller's injury is?
I don't. Just a hamstring. Yeah.
You obviously bottled them up all game, like you said, up until that last drive. What happened for them to get the two big completions? Did you soften the coverage? Or?
Yeah. One we had the DPI there at the overtime. The other one we kind of lost it. He got outside of the contain and threw it up there. Made a couple good plays.
Coach, with Tyrod's injury and Graham Gano missing field goals left and right, and that report coming out about the swollen leg, is it the plan tomorrow to bring in a couple quarterbacks like you did, and also maybe a new couple kickers? Yeah,
I understand the question. I'm not there yet. I'm just, we talk every Monday morning, so it's not right now.
What did you tell your guys afterwards, and what's their mindset after a game like today?
Yeah, I said it was a tough loss. This one hurts.
What do you think was the problem with the passing game? So you finished with -9 yards net passing.
We ran it almost every play. So.
Why is that? What was the thinking behind that for you?
Weather controlled the game. Thought our defense was going to play well. Figured it'd be a close game. You know, Saquon had some good runs. We had some opportunities. You know, just trying to win the game. You know, a little bit of an old school way today.
Brian, if Daniel's not ready, what's your plan for quarterback next week?
Yeah, well, I can't give it to you right now.
What did you think when Matt Barkley and Ian both came to visit them?
Yeah, I'm not there, Jordan. I mean, we'll talk about that stuff tomorrow when we sit down with Joe and the rest of the guys. It's, you know, this one hurts. It's a tough loss.
Dibs, there were times where it looked like Saquon was trying to will the offense. What did you think of how he did play today?
Yeah, no, he played hard. I mean, I told the guys at halftime we're going through 26. We're going to hand it off a bunch. We're going to play good defense. We're going to try to control the field position with our kicking game. You know, we drove down there. It was a long drive there in the third quarter, and you know, just play it, you know, kind of play it a certain way to try to win the game. It just didn't work out.
Coach, you've been around the game for a while. Have you had a disappointing loss like this before, and how did you?
They're all disappointing. Yeah, every loss is disappointing.
The way you leaned on your defense all day, how stunned were you that they were able to get in field goal range in, you know, 24 seconds?
Yeah, no, they did a good job. Give them credit. Not much else for you.
What was the feel in the locker room afterwards from your players?
Disappointed.
Fourth and one in the second quarter, where you took them.
Same situation. Points. We were trying to get points down. So when we got down into the area, we thought that we were in good field position. You know, we were gonna take points. So it didn't work out.
You said Graham is good. I mean, I think the art that he needs surgery on his left knee. Do you think that's affecting him at all?
Yeah, I don't know. Going into it, we felt comfortable with him.
Did losing Waller early affect any of your game planning?
Anytime you lose a good player, it affects your game plan. Sure. You know, down to one tight end, and Marcus played some tight end that Bish was going through with him during the week. But that's not an excuse. We didn't get it done.
Is there a concern Waller's going to be lost for several weeks?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Does an offense sometimes need you to put confidence in them to get a 4th and 1? Like, is that intangible part of a decision like that at all?
Yeah, look, I made a decision I thought was the best for the team. It didn't work out. So at the end of the day, I take responsibility, but I thought it was the best for the team, and that's the way I'll always make them.
Coach, have you recognized that some of those decisions over the last few weeks, even going back to Buffalo, kind of like been the difference? Some of those like low-scoring, very close games where it's like 4th and inches, 4th and 1. Maybe you could continue the momentum.
Yeah, every decision that you make, you try to make for the best interest of the team in that particular game. That's what we'll always do. Sometimes it doesn't work out, so I accept responsibility for that. But you sit down, you have discussions, you talk about it on the headset, and then you make a decision. And that's what you need to do. So it didn't work out. We still had, a few seconds there at the end to try to stop them and, give them credit. But, disappointing loss.
How do you think Tommy handled himself? Obviously, it was his first NFL game action rehearsal.
Yeah, I mean, we handed off a bunch, but he controlled the huddle. He's made progress since he's been here, but we didn't throw it much, obviously.
How much a reflection of the game plan in the second half was DeVito being at quarterback or your game plan?
Well, I would say it was a collective how the defense was playing. We tried to play a field position game, control the ball, run the ball. Came out and had a good drive there and not turn it over. We had a couple little actions here or there that we won. We threw one to Bellinger. We threw one out into the flat, but it was really to rely on Saquon, the offensive line, our defense, and play field position in terms of the kicking game. And they did an outstanding job on their units. We were backed up 3 times, I think, which is a long, hard way against that defense too. So also controlling the ball in terms of not giving it to them in a backed up field, a short field, something happens. So we were playing, I'd say, a conservative game. just didn't work out, at the end.
What did you see what you didn't want returning?
I fielded the ball and made some good plays with it.
Instead of 2 and 6, trade deadlines 2 days away. Does that where you guys stand? Do you think that affects how you'll handle the next 2 days?
Yeah, understand the question. I'm not there yet to talk about that, Dan.
What did ownership think of today's game when you talked to them?
Yeah, I'll keep all that stuff that we talk about between us, Pat. Obviously, nobody's happy we lose. So when you lose, it's disappointing. But good conversations, like normal conversations.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, clock.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. And Giants fans, check out the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. We'll look back on today's game and take a look ahead at next week's matchup. It's the Coach Daboll Show airing every week on MSG Networks and the Giants YouTube channel. After the break, we've got much more to come. We'll hear from Graham Gano, Kayvon Thibodeau, and more as Giants Postgame Live presented by Moderna continues after this quick break. Welcome back to the show. For today's game, the Giants partnered with Marvel for a full game day experience and activation, including character appearances, branding, and the first 25,000 fans at MetLife Stadium received a custom Eli Manning superhero collectible poster.
Wow.
To learn more about the
Look at those
partnership,
muscles.
watch the Eli Manning Show on the Giants YouTube channel. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live presented by Moderna. Madelyn, Burke, Shaun O'Hara, and Amani Toomer here at MetLife Stadium recapping the 13-10 loss in overtime to the Jets. It was a rainy day. Before the break, we heard from head coach Brian Daboll. He was talking about how they were prioritizing an old school football approach, especially because of the weather. 203 rushing yards on the day. And Amani, you made this comment in the break. How do you lose a game with 203 yards rushing? Well, they had -9 passing yards as well, Toom.
Yeah, they had -9 passing yards, and the Thomas Morstead, Thomas Morstead, the punter for the Jets, 4 punts inside the 20-yard line. That really put a pretty damper on the momentum that the Giants offense can create. It's easy to run the ball when you're in midfield or you're out of your own red zone, but when you're in your own red zone, it just makes it that much tougher and makes the running game that much harder to make the offense as fluid as it should be. So, yeah, shout out to the punter for the New York Jets. Man, he definitely put a number on our team when the Jets offense was struggling.
24 punts in this game. So, like, driving into the stadium today, we knew, all right, this is going to be a ground and pound game. You're going to run the football. You're not trying to throw the ball 35 times in this monsoon. So coming into it, the game plan was, look, Saquon Barkley, 26 is going to get the ball. You heard Daboll talk about it. And whether Tyrod Taylor was a quarterback or Tommy DeVito was a quarterback, that was going to be the offense because of the conditions. You don't want the ball being out, slippery. We saw all that happen. The Jets had a couple of fumbles as well. But I just want to address something right now because Brian Daboll's standing up at the podium and he's fielding questions. And, look, people are peppering him with the decisions. Why'd you go over on 4th and 1 in the first half? Why'd you go over on 4th and 1? Why'd you kick the field goal? Why didn't you go for it? Why didn't you try to end the game right there? Stop. Stop with the second guessing. Those decisions were perfectly fine. In a game like this, with the weather the way it was, kicking the field goal, getting the points was the right decision. He didn't make them, all right? You expect your kicker to make a 35-yard field goal. Graham Gano is a Pro Bowl kicker. He expects to make that. So stop with the questioning Brian Daboll and his decision-making on those situations. There was the right play. It didn't work out, and it stinks, and it sucks to have that victory ripped from your hands, and I think that everybody's feeling that. Brian Daboll, the locker room, certainly Graham Gano. The fact that he's willing to even talk to people after that game, lets you know what kind of person Graham Gano is. He's willing to step up and be accountable for it. And so we're going to hear from him coming up shortly and give him credit for being able to, hey, you know what? If I speak when I have a good game, I've got to be accountable when I don't have a good game. And he will tell you, look, it's on me. I missed that. And he's damn right. And there's no two ways about it. So stop questioning the coaches, the play calling. It was the right thing. 200 yards rushing, 0 turnovers. That should be a victory. But the Giants found a way to mess that up.
It's a tough one indeed, and especially when you mentioned Graham Gano missing 2 field goals. Usually he's on the field, he's in range. He is speaking to the media now, though. Let's send it down to the locker room.
I just missed him. I have no excuses. That's not who I am. I'm sure some people want me to sit up here and make excuses. I got none. I just got to play better. It's frustrating. I know the team played well. I just didn't. I got to play better.
Trial diagnosis has been going wrong with you lately. Yeah,
I'm not gonna get into all that. Truth of the matter, I just gotta go out and make my kicks. I mean, they send me out there, they expect me to make them, and that's just not who I am to sit up here and make excuses, to cower or do anything like that. I mean, I just have to do a better job and not let everybody down. It's not a problem. I mean, my knee is what it is, but I got to make my kicks. It's not the reason I missed today. I just played poorly.
As Graham Gano at his locker after this game. Tough one for Gano today. He was 1 for 3, 1 of 1 on the extra points, though. But those 2 missed field goals, again, we talked about them, Amani, pivotal situations, especially that one late in the game that could have sealed the deal for the Giants.
Yeah, when you're in a game like this with the conditions the way they are, the Giants struggling on their third quarterback, DeVito, you have to make those plays. You have to make those kicks. And I understand that he's got some leeway because he's been a great kicker for the Giants over the past year, but we needed him today. And I like the way he stepped up and said, no excuses, I just got to make the kick. But at some point in time, that's not good enough either. I wanted to win this game. I know the Giants fans wanted to win this game. And the fact that we didn't because of the kicker being inconsistent at the wrong time, it's a shame, but this is a results-based business. And the results today weren't good enough.
And he definitely was addressing the questions asked to him about his knee, saying, it's not that. I just didn't play well. I didn't play up to standard. Graham Gano, all class in addressing that as well. The defense was also pretty strong today for this Giants team, but late in the game, they had some unfortunate penalties. Adoree Jackson now down at his locker. Let's send it down to the locker room.
I feel like our defense played well. I mean, their defense played great also. They got stops when needed. We was getting stops as well, but I think our defense played great out there.
What was the feeling when you guys were on the field there with 20-something seconds left in regulation?
What was the feel? Just get the game over with. That's it.
Why weren't you able to do that, do you think?
Made a couple plays, scrambled, extended the play, was able to make them.
Were you guys in a prevent at that point? Were you just not trying to give up big plays?
No, we actually went outside, playing outside man. Yeah, ran a D7. He was running D7. That's what he ran. To go through the plays, breaking out, seen the quarterback scramble, gave me a little nudge, went back inside, boom, catch the ball, and get to clock it and get the field goal to go in OT. So. There wasn't no prevent, none of that. We was in outside man-to-man. Yeah.
How strange was it to see Graham miss not once but twice and kicks?
Yeah. It was I won't say strange, just different to see. Odd, I guess strange, your words. But at the end of the day, we still rally with him. Pat him on the back. It is what it is. You just got to go out there and execute on the defense. We know we got to play. Not perfect football, but perfect football, out there. And it didn't happen like that.
That was Giants corner Adoree Jackson as we take a look at his numbers from today's game against the Jets. But we've got much more to come after the break. We're going to hear from Saquon Barkley, Tommy DeVito, Kayvon Thibodeau, and more on Giants Postgame Live presented by Moderna. Stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines because you've got no time for 19. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Moderna. We'll be back after this. Back at the show, time now for our HCL Player of the Game presented by HCL Tech, supercharging progress. The official digital transformation partner of the New York Giants. The HCL Tech Player of the Game, of course, Kayvon Thibodeau, finishing with 9 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble. He's had 8.5 sacks in the last 6 games on the season. Let's hear from him now in the locker room.
I mean, you just got to finish. NFL is a game of finishing, and they were able to execute at the end of the game and get enough points to win.
You played all over the football field today. Does that make you feel even worse here because you gave the effort and the team didn't get the win?
Nah, man. It's a team sport. It is devastating that we didn't get the win, but it takes all of us. So we just got to keep going.
You said you got to finish. Did you think with 24 seconds to go, it was pretty much finished at that point?
It's the NFL. It's not over to the lady sings. So, we just got to finish better on the defense.
Could you believe after the way the defense played for 59 minutes and 30-something seconds that, you didn't get the win.
Yeah, man. Quarterback made some great plays, and they got enough to kick the field goal.
Kevon, what was different about his ability to escape and buy time on the last 2 drives where they were able to get the points?
We just got to make plays. I don't think he did anything, anything crazy. For them, it's a routine play. For us, it's a routine play. It's just about who executes it, at a higher level.
What was the plan on that last possession defensively?
Just make a play. Make a play.
Make a play, and make a play he did. I know Carl Banks is over here sipping his tea saying, hey, I told y'all. I told y'all.
Yeah.
Kayvon Thibodeau, great game from the number 5 overall draft pick from last year. But, of course, disappointing when you play that well, and as he talked about, and still not translating to a win, Shaun.
Yeah, disappointing. And, listen, if you're the offense right now and you walk in that locker room and the defense is over there, like, really? Like 10 points? Coming into this game, the Giants were averaging 12 points a game. They couldn't even match their average. And look, I feel bad for the defense. They played their hearts out. Kayvon Thibodeau balled out. When you look at what this defense did, the Jets' first down was right before the 2-minute warning at the end of the game. Like, they were 0 for 12 on third down. So, I mean, look, the Giants' defense did everything they could to win this football game. I don't know, other than score themselves, what more could you have asked for them to do? Kayvon Thibodeau started off this game on fire. The very first possession gets the sack, forced fumble, puts the offense right in position to score, and they settle for a field goal. So there's just so many missed opportunities offensively, and I can't help but think that this team just feels gutted right now because nobody deserved to win this game. Both teams were sloppy on both sides of the ball. It was a nasty, sloppy game. But the Giants gift-wrapped this one and gave it to the Jets, and that's got to sting even more.
Yeah, they say more games are in the NFL that are lost than won. This was a game that was lost. This was a hot potato game because every team was trying to give it away. The both of them on third down, the Jets were 13% and the Giants were 10%. So both of these teams were struggling on offense with their backup quarterbacks. The Giants with their backup, their third string backup. But you know what? When you look at this game, these are the ones that kind of tip the scale on how your season's going to go. And the Jets got a huge boost off of winning this ugly game, and the Giants have to regroup and lick their wounds. They have a big game next week in Las Vegas playing against the Raiders, another team struggling. Get back on track. One thing about the NFL is it keeps on rolling. You can't focus on what happened last. The best teams are the ones that can wipe away the victories and the losses the same. And this Giants team is going to have to wipe away this loss and move on to next week because, this one is dead as George Washington. You got to move on to next week and keep on competing and keep on keeping the energy, keep that stinger up. I want to see the fire next week that they had this week on defense to translate over onto the offense.
Yeah, and for the Giants, look, I mean, Philly beat Washington today, right? The Cowboys beat the Rams. But I think right now you're going to find out what kind of team you have, right? And you can either fragment and you can blame and you can kind of lose your energy, lose your focus, or you can galvanize and rally together. The one thing I will say right now, because, look, if you go on social media, Brian Daboll's trending, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what is this coach doing? Stop with the Brian Daboll. This coaching staff is terrible. Fire him. Stop all that stuff. This was the coach of the year last year, all right? Brian Daboll is a damn good coach. These are good coaches. I blame the players. Players didn't execute. Brian Daboll didn't miss a field goal, right? Brian Daboll's not out there missing blocks,
shanking balls,
getting PI penalties. This is on the players, all right? So stop with all that stuff about we got to change and coaches. No, enough of that. This is about execution. This game is always about execution. That will never change. And until the Giants start executing in the most pivotal moments in the game, they're going to keep losing games.
Absolutely. All right, we got to send it to break right now, but we've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live. But first, Giants fans, subscribe to text alerts for breaking news, ticket offers, game day updates, and more. Just scan the QR code on your screen or text 201-636-1569 to subscribe to Giants text alerts. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna. After this quick break, stay with us.
This one definitely stings. We played a really good team. Hats off to the Jets. Defense played great. The O-line battled their tails off. Tommy came and did a great job. We came up short.
Can you believe we lost this game, Saquon? I mean, it was, Kayvon makes that sack. There's 24 seconds left. Lining up the field goal. Can you believe so many things that have happened for you to lose this game? Can you believe we lost it?
Yeah, I guess I can because we lost. In that moment, everything's going your way and you feel like the games, we can finish the game. We just got to do a better job of finding a way to win that game. There's so many players out there that we want to have back, and especially myself, and start by going and watching film and see what I could do better and what we could do better.
Were you surprised at the field goal at the end, and 4th and 1? Were you hoping to maybe get the ball there in that situation?
I mean, it's 4th and 1. I mean, I could sit here and be like, oh, I want the ball in that situation, but we got nothing but trust in Graham, and we're going to continue to have trust in Graham. And to be honest, I could have got the first down in the play before. Got to drop my feet a little bit more, or some other play. I could have found a way to get a first down. You could sit here and pick and choose, the 4th and 1, that decision, or what should we have done there or not, and you can make that the play. But there's so many plays that go throughout a game that helps with the decision of how the game turns out, and just got to be better, all of us.
What was it like when Tommy went in there, that transition?
I think he did great. He was cool, calm, collected. It's a tough defense to go against for your first time. He was able to get in the end zone. He's a local kid. Probably felt great for him. And just at this point, we couldn't get a win from him. We came close, but didn't get it done.
Saquon Barkley finishes the day with 128 rushing yards, the most rushing attempts in his career with 36 rushing attempts. He also passes Alex Webster for the fifth most rushing yards in Giants history. But when you've got a player like this that can break off some chunk plays, and Amani, we saw how that galvanized the Giants offense, especially in the second half when Tommy DeVito came in. What does that do for an offense?
It really gives you an anchor. It gives you something that no matter where you go, no matter what the weather is, that is something that can always work. The pass game sometimes goes in and out if you're not as consistent, especially when you are down to your third-string quarterback. You still have a real plan of action that will give you, that'll lead you towards a victory. And that's why it was very important. People talk about you don't need a running back. Today is the perfect example of why you need a running back. They controlled not only the game with 200 yards, but they kept this Jets offense off the field for a lot of time, long stretches of time, which made it very hard for them at the end to win this game. The Giants had a chance to win this game, as we all know. It came up short, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that they ran the football, took the air out of it, and it was a fourth-quarter game that could have went either way.
Yeah, you look at Saquon, and I mean, it's obvious how much he brings to this offense. Like, he really is the MVP of this offense. And with no Daniel Jones down, with Darren Waller exiting the game with a hamstring injury, he became the focal point. And I think, to your point, Madelyn, like, Saquon is the guy that everybody on offense looks to, like, hey, we need something. Like, provide a spark, give us some energy, give us some juice.
Yeah.
And a lot of those yards today were yards where after contact, it was Saquon, like, running through arm tackles, bouncing off defenders. Right. There weren't a ton of huge holes out there. This is a good Jets defense, as everybody's pointed out. But I thought they handled the line of scrimmage well. John Michael Schmidt's coming back at center. Again, another offensive line combination. Tyree Phillips in again at right tackle. The Giants are playing with some backup offensive linemen. And I thought they ran the ball well enough to win. We already hit on it, 200 rushing yards. Like, as an offensive lineman, your goal is 100. If you get 200, you should be getting a game ball, and everybody should be celebrating in the locker room.
Absolutely, absolutely. And especially when you've got the third-string quarterback in Tommy DeVito coming into the game, running this offense. Let's send it down and hear from DeVito now.
A lot of emotions. Wish it would have ended, better to fulfill those emotions. But, I was the little kid in me is smiling right now that I got to play an NFL game and really in a meaningful NFL game. And, I just wish the outcome would have been different.
What was going through your head as you saw Tyrod kind of down and you started taking those warm-up passes?
Yeah, hoping that he's healthy, and everything's going well. I know I don't have any updates with that or anything, but, just it's time to go. It's kind of the same thing that Tyrod has been telling me about, from how he prepares and what goes through his head, because it's tough. Like, you never know what play it is, what time it is, if it's going to happen, if it's not going to happen. So there's a tough part about staying ready and being ready for that role, which is what makes that position so difficult. So I thought Tyrod did a good job helping me throughout these last couple of months being here, and just when he went down, everybody just looked at me and we were all good, and we were going to go through what our game plan was.
Did you wish that maybe you would have passed a little bit more, or did you just say, look, it's my first NFL game, I want to leave it up to the coach, coach knows best?
Yeah, the play's called, and my job is just to go out there and execute and help lead the offense.
Who were you turning to on the bench during the game? You mentioned relying on Tyrod, but when he's not there, were you to talk to him?
Yeah, really with John Michael for the center and then Saquon. You know, that was part of our game plan, and clearly he carried the load of the offense really the whole second half. So really just relying on those two, making sure the communication was good, and then being able to execute the offense.
That's Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito. Giants fans, check out the Eli Manning Show presented by Panini Prism Trading Cards. All you have to do is subscribe to the Giants YouTube channel and catch all of the new shows. It's the Eli Manning Show on the Giants YouTube page. Subscribe today. We'll be back with more Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Moderna after this. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live presented by Moderna. We turn the page to next week's game. The Giants are at Las Vegas taking on the Raiders, 4:25 p.m. Eastern kickoff right there. The Raiders will be on a short week, though, because, of course, they're playing Detroit on Monday Night Football. But when you look at this matchup and, of course, the way that the Giants have been pivoting and a lot of storylines to follow, Shaun, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, who's playing quarterback for the Raiders? Jimmy Garoppolo's been banged up. Obviously, that'll be a big part of it. Josh McDaniels and that offense has struggled to get going. But the other question is really Max Crosby. He's been a little bit of a nightmare for offenses to try to corral and block. So certainly a big task for the Giants offensive line going up against Mad Max.
Yeah, it'll be a good game in Vegas.
It'll be a good game, but mentally this team needs to be on to the next. They cannot focus on what happened. They got the less energy they put towards, mental energy they put towards licking their wounds, in the putting more towards energy towards what's going to happen next week. That is going to be what's going to determine the rest of the season for the Giants. This is a tough, heartbreaking loss. You can go one of two ways. Hopefully this coaching staff and this team has enough stuff in them that they're going to focus on what they can control, which is how they perform next week in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, we got to just highlight these hats that we've got on the set right here. We've seen the coaches wearing them all on the sidelines,
this is pretty cool. You've seen the Giants players, the Giants coaching staff all wearing these, the FDNY, the NYPD, and, of course, the Port Authority. And proceeds to these hats were made available. You can buy them. Fans can purchase them. And contributions will be made to the New York City Police Foundation benefit, and that will benefit our Harlem and Far Rockaway Giants after-school program. So thank you to everybody who made that concession and purchased those hats and made donations. It's going to a good cause.
Or you can go to Canal Street and get you one of these.
Great stuff indeed. Canal Street's finest. All right, that's our show today. We'll be back next week with more Giants Postgame Live. For Amani, Toomer, and Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.